boy.
Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always. You know that.
I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. But everything important happens when we're awake. Look at you. Put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
We are House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts!
I know you. There's something awakening in my mind.
You need to face your fears.
Come with me.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Denis Villeneuve's latest film, Dune. I'm Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Happy to be here to talk about Dune.
It's Dune.
Dune.
Well, they never say it during the film, so who knows how it's pronounced, really.
Yeah, one dude does.
That's my Dune.
Right?
I don't know.
Old mate? You know, Wormy? The bad guy? I don't remember his name. To be honest, I'll tell you what, going into this right now, other than Paul, I'm out for names.
It's Paul and Paul's mum.
Yep.
Luckily, there is Wikipedia, so that helps.
Yep.
All right. Please be aware, we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes and ending of this film. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. It's currently playing in cinemas in Australia and is on HBO Max in America and is probably out of cinemas everywhere else because it was out everywhere else really early. I think somewhere said, like, we're the last country in the world to actually get the movie.
Love that.
Gotta love that. Thanks, coronavirus. So with that said, let's jump to our discussion of Dune. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, screenplay by Jon Spaihts, Denis Villeneuve, and Eric Roth, based on Dune by Frank Herbert, starring Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Stephen McKinley, Henderson, Zendaya, David Mashalan, Chen, Sharon Duncan-Brewster, Charlotte Rampling, Jason Momoa, and Javier Bardem. Paul Atreides, a brilliant and gifted young man born into a great destiny beyond his understanding, must travel to the most dangerous planet in the universe to ensure the future of his family and his people. As malevolent forces explode into conflict over the planet's exclusive supply of the most precious resource in existence, only those who can conquer their own fear will survive. Dylan, what did you know about Dune going into this?
Nothing. I know nothing. I know Frank Herbert. I know the books. I know there's a movie. Like I know of it as a pop culture, his piece of history, sci-fi, pop culture history, whatever you want to call it. But other than that, I know nothing about this movie or the books, like the plot or anything.
Yeah, very similar. I never read the books, never watched the movie or the miniseries. I know sandworms are a thing. That's kind of it.
Yeah, that's about where I am.
Yeah. So if you're expecting a detailed breakdown of what differences between the movies or how they adapted the book, probably find that somewhere else, I would assume.
I'm sure there's like a 6-hour YouTube video someone's done.
Yeah. But watch that and then come back and listen to the rest of this. Because, so with that said, Dylan, what do you think of Dune?
Loved it. It was obviously one of my most anticipated movies of the year going into it. Not because I'm a fan of the source material, but just because I'm a fan of Denis Villeneuve and Blade Runner 2049 being my last sort of favorite movie that came out, and loving pretty much all the other movies he does and thinking they're all fantastic, and it just like looking like such a interesting sci-fi world of all these fantastic actors I love. Oscar Isaac's got like the best beard in movie history. I don't know what else, you know what I mean? Like, so I really, really liked it. I feel like this is my sort of, I on it, like I left because obviously like I haven't seen spoilers, which is good. Like I haven't read anyone's reviews. Yeah. Well, I suppose it's not that sort of movie, I guess, that like, how do people spoil this? Like, what do you,
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Like, do like the Marvel watching spoiling crowd care to go on Twitter and spoil Dune? Like, is there some sort of like weird crossover of spoiling Spider-Man and spoiling Dune? I don't know.
There's been like a few memes and that kind of stuff, but I don't know if that you know,
They're exactly the same.
It's not really spoilery.
Yeah. So I haven't seen anything. I haven't read anyone's reviews, but I had seen like general Twitter like, oh, it's boring, or like it's too long, or you know, it's up its own ass, that sort of, it's pretentious, you know, like boring characters, all this sort of stuff. You're all wrong. You all hate cinema. People watching this on their TVs, get the hell out of here. People pirating this in Australia before waiting to watch this shit in the cinema, you're fucking sick. Go see a doctor. This was like, and it's hard to say because, like, it's not filled with action, which again, I think, like I discussed this on a recent What Do You Want to Watch thing, where it's like, people always like, equate action to cinema, but it's just like the scope of the movie so wide, and everything looks the same because it's a desert, yet the universe seems so big and stuff like that. But there was just so many like great shots here. The soundtrack, Hans Zimmer's music is tremendous, paired that with what's happening on screen. Like everything in this movie just seems to have weight and epicness to it. Like when you have a scene where someone's passing a glass of water and you're like, oh fuck, like like I don't think I've seen a movie where it's like, you know, that attention and like to this passing of a glass of water, like like what's happening here, like let's get close up of people's eyes and what's the secret, you know, like. So I just feel like there was so much here, and it went for what, like nearly 2.5, whatever, 2 hour 40, something like that. Yep. 2 hour 20, 30, 40, something. Like that. And I was still just like, oh, keep going, you know, add another 2 hours. Let's keep going. Why are we splitting this into part 1, part 2? Just do a 4-hour movie. Let's fucking go. I would have happily sat there and just kept watching it. I had no problems pacing wise, anything. The only problem I have is that it ends and I don't have another one to go watch at this stage, really. I think all the characters, even like Paul sort of being this, I actually really like the way that Paul's, like he's a character that's meant to be this, you know, he's basically a prince or whatever you want to call him, like, and you can like he has weight to him, like he has, like I don't feel like he's boring at all. I feel like there's a degree of him sort of trying to keep his emotions and the weight on his shoulders in check, and that's just him doing that. But I feel like Timothée Chalamet's performance is really good and sort of carries that through, and it doesn't fall into weird CW territory where, like in that last fight scene, I was waiting for him to be like, say some stupid one-liner or something ridiculous before doing that fight, or any of these moments that I would have been like, oh, that was bad or something, but it never comes. Like I feel like everything was really good. And I'm now like, oh no, these books are so long, I'm not going to read that shit, but do I want to listen to the audio book? Like, I don't know, like, yeah. You know, like, so I really, really liked it. Straight into the short list of my favorite things I've watched this year. I was so glad I got to see this actually in the cinema and without having to watch it on my fucking TV first or anything. Can't wait to watch it at home again, but still, like, bigger screen. The walls were shaking, you know, with that Hans Zimmer score at times with the boom, like so much. You know, not quite Christopher Nolan Zimmer-esque, but there is a fair bit of like, even though the movie starts in the first, like, it's just a strum, like a deep, like, boom, and then like someone says a line, I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
I heard he invented instruments.
Oh, really?
So he could, like, make it sound otherworldly and stuff.
It does. I mean, it sounds like some weird alien horn thing, I guess. I honestly don't. I assumed it was some, like, bass line that had been played with, but yeah, it was vibrating it was definitely vibrating the walls a bit, and you feel that shudder, and like it just every time something happens, and even like the Scottish fucking when they pull out the bagpipes and shit like that, I was like, fucking, wow, I pay off the weird commitment. Like it's a bit, but whatever. So I don't know the reasoning. But
out of all the instruments that could be taken from Earth, I assume,
I'm sticking to the book, I presume, is what that is. But I was like, you know, whatever, fucking, let's go, let's keep doing it. But yeah, I really, really liked it. I just wish there was more.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I think it's an interesting world that we get kind of slightly introduced to. I feel like it is a little bit like exposition heavy, or like trying to fill you in a lot of things like pretty early on. And then like kind of I can understand where people may have gotten bored because not a lot really happens.
But what's boring? Like there's always something happening.
But no. I'm saying there's certain people who just love plot. That's all they care about. Give me as much story as you possibly can, and that's all they want.
Because I felt like the movie moved fast. Like, I feel like it goes from one thing to another. Like, I feel like the characters are always moving. There's barely any downtime. Like, you go from their planet, Atreus? I just watched the fucking thing. Whatever it's called. They go from there, like, and all that's like moves along, and a lot of that's exposition, like on that planet explaining the history. And they like go over all that, and then when they go to Dune or whatever the planet's actually called, Arrakis. When they go there, by the time they set up camp and, you get one assassination attempt, next second, everyone, shit goes crazy. Fucking invaders and all that stuff. Like, and then they're moving, then you got sand fight, then you got to meet the people. Like, I feel like it's always moving.
I mean, yeah, it's always moving, but like, people are more concerned about like the overall plot than like the actual moment to moment kind of thing. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is people are weird, and that's why.
Like, what is that? Is the plot like the plot of the movie? Like, so much happens. It's like a red wedding, and then there's,
yeah, yeah, amazing cast like across the board. Obviously, Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac. Yeah, just a really well acted, well performed, beautiful visuals. Like, apparently, almost all of the spaceships and stuff is practical. Very little, as little CGI as Villeneuve could get away with, and that kind of thing. So, it shows. Jess Momoa looks great in this. Weird seeing him without a beard at one point, but looks good without a beard. He should do more beardless roles.
Talk about sci-fi. Here's my weird thing that stuck out to me while watching it. The shot that impressed me the most straight out the gate and stuck with me even now when you're saying that, and I'm like, that was actually a really good shot. There's nothing in the crazy ships, none of the crazy explosions, nothing like that. It was right at the start when they're meeting the Emperor's, like, whatever, he's doing, he comes in with a contract or whatever. Yeah. And like that ship lands, and then you see the door open, and it lands, like it just comes down, and it just looks so, for some reason I was just so impressed with how real it looked. Like, it all just seemed very real, weirdly real. It didn't look like a fake sort of, what maybe I'm used to between Star Wars and Star Trek and whatever the hell else, like sort of doors coming down. Like, it seemed to have a bit more weight and everything to it. I don't know. So weirdly, that's the moment that stood out coming out of the cinema, like literally 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I too love doors opening. Yeah, just a lot of the world building stuff. Obviously, you've got the native people of Arrakis who you've kind of don't get much of in this, but kind of, I'm assuming, hinting towards the future of. Well, this movie is also colored by the fact that we know for a fact Dune Part 2 is coming.
Yeah, that's good. It's good going in knowing that, because now I don't have to fear.
Don't have to worry. But also, the film does feel like a Part 1. But it feels like, I think I said on What Do You Want to Watch, like, it feels like the best, closest, like, first film it feels like is Fellowship of the Ring, where it does feel like a conclusion.
It's funny you say that, because when old mate Momoa is doing his big fight?
Yep.
It was reminding me of Sean Bean in Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, okay. Of Sean Bean.
Yeah. Like, that's the, his moment where he goes down, takes a million arrows to the knee. Yeah. I was literally thinking of that moment in that fight. Because he takes all these things and you think he's dead, then he gets back up. He's like, nah, fuck you, mate.
I'm going to keep going. Yeah. Sure. So, yeah. So it feels like a satisfying conclusion, even though there's more to come, and you kind of want more to come. Like you said, if they had have just started Roll 2, put Dune Part 2 started in the cinema, I would have just sat there for another 2.5 hours.
I mean, they set up, by the end of the movie, like, Paul has sort of embraced that, like, at the end he's like, we're not leaving. Like, I've come here. I'm going to go discover the secrets of, I think they're called the
Freeman.
Freeman? Is that what they're called?
I believe so.
So I mean, like, he chooses to stay by the end of the movie, and he's finally met Zendaya's character, which the whole movie is like him having these flashes to her and whatever else. Yeah, and then you get that nice tease of seeing that one person riding Sandworm like a sick cunt, and you're like, oh yeah, give us some of that. So I feel like you get satisfaction, and he makes choices, and the movie ends on like a cliffhanger where you're like, oh, how do you learn to do that? Like, what are these people doing out here in the desert? Like, how do they live? Like, there's so much there, but I don't feel like the ending, like, I feel like without the fight, obviously, if they just like met and they like shook hands and said, "Cool, come meet our people. Here's someone riding a sandworm. Isn't that cool?" Credits. It wouldn't be as satisfying because you didn't get the moment where Paul has a vision and then like just shows off nearly like
he's had these visions of himself dying this entire film.
Yeah, but I mean with the fight, like having him see the fight and then more or less Doctor Strange that shit where he just nearly blocks all that dude's punches and stuff because he's like sort of seeing it and then like really owns him and then kills his first person and then sort of embraces all that. Like if you didn't have that moment, the movie would be a lot flatter if it was just like, "Hey Zendaya, how are you? Cool sandworm person. Let's go. Part 2 soon."
Cute, yeah, absolutely. Also, shout out to the sandworm. I think they do a great job of like setting up the danger of these sandworms and like obviously with that sequence with the
escape scene with the spice truck thing or whatever.
The spice truck thing, yeah. And I haven't seen the other Dune, but I'm pretty sure this shit's hilarious.
Yeah, I would say so. They look really good whenever you see them, like highly detailed, scary. I actually didn't realize they were that big. Like, I mean, we'd seen them in the trailer, that one shot of them like getting really close, but when it eats that shit, because they show this, whatever, the craft, that when you see how big that thing is, and then the sandworm just like eats it like it's nothing, you're like, holy shit, these things are massive.
Yeah. So, how much of the actual plot did you understand? Because there's a lot going on that's like tough to keep track of.
Here's one of my other positives. I went into this ready to be like trying to pay a lot of attention and like expecting to hear a lot of phrases and words and being like, okay, I have to remember this to keep up. Like, I don't really understand what's going on. I actually feel like the movie does a really good job of not dumbing down, but like maybe it's just the way it's edited and paced and everything like that. And the way like characters maybe do give a little bit of unnecessary at times, but it helps for the movie sort of background and whatever else. Like, I feel like I had no problem being like, what is this character's motivation? What is this like, I feel like most of it, other than stuff that is supposed to be left open for part 2, 3, whatever, I feel like it was pretty understandable. Weirdly, I expected it to be a lot denser than it was.
Yeah, I think obviously House Atreides gets ownership of Arrakis.
Importantly, the Emperor. Importantly,
but the Emperor is fucking them over because he's going to get the Harkonnens and his soldiers to take them out.
Yeah,
seems like a lot of steps, but I guess to get them off their natural defenses.
Well, he doesn't want. He wants to make it look like he wasn't involved. Like that's why that the whole scene where if you accuse and prove that get this information out there, then everyone will turn on the Emperor. Like so. So
no, he'll just turn everyone on House Harkonnen. They seem like they don't care. They're a bunch of weirdos.
They are.
Although, what was that doctor dude thinking? He thought he was really going to give his wife back? He doesn't seem like the type.
That was actually one part that annoyed me. I'm like, you're telling me this one doctor dude can literally just take out 3 guards and that's all it took to sort of shut down all security measures? Come on. Weak.
Yeah. Although we do get that scene of Oscar Isaac frozen, shirtless for some reason.
I assumed he was going to cut his dick off or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Assumed I was going to torture him. Would have been the play, probably.
Probably. That entire escape sequence was really cool, like the whole war sequence.
They bomb everything, and I'm like, aren't you moving back in? It's literally like running into a house and then being like, oh, I live here now. Like, what's the
shit? I burned half of it down. It's really it's going to be a real pain to put back together.
Josh Brolin and 20 mates run out there to take on like literally 100,000 men, but he's like, no, let's go. Whatever.
I don't know. He didn't look like he died, so maybe he'll be back.
I highly doubt it. I think he's dead.
No survivors? I don't think.
No.
Yeah. Another important scene, obviously, him using the voice, which is obviously the special gift his mother has from the
witches.
The Bene Gesserits. Which is an interesting wrinkle.
So, from my understanding, based on that one scene with her high mother or whatever the hell they call her, they're a group of people who are sort of like tampering in the background for years, like
They're
sort
the
of
Illuminati.
They are the Illuminati, sort of like crossing bloodlines, which basically implies they're like being pushed into pairing families and one by one, the next, and they're always supposed to have girls, so then the next one can go to a different family and like get some of their blood in the bloodline. And their eventual plan is that, or it's based on, I guess, a prophecy or something, that eventually they'll one will have a boy, and that boy will be the whatever they call Paul, but I can't remember. And he's going to be able to cross time and space or something that sounds absolutely insane, but that's sort of what I gathered for that. Yeah. And she got told off for doing it soon because apparently it wasn't time, but Rebecca Ferguson was like, nah, I did it.
I don't know how they control having boys or girls.
I don't know. They have a voice.
Maybe
I guess they just go, uterus, woman.
Get rid of those Y chromosomes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
But yeah, you got that scene of Paul putting his hand in the box.
Yeah, don't put your hand in the box.
Yeah.
It was intense.
Yeah, pretty intense. Yeah, obviously, shout out to the I don't know, dragonfly ships. Those were pretty cool.
Cool.
Well designed.
Thopters. I remember that name. Because they're like, there's a Thopter outside waiting for you. That, wow, the one, Fendi? Am I saying it right now? No?
I can't remember.
What are they called?
Freeman.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, the one who gets like stabbed in the back right before she's about to ride that sandworm. Because she says to him, there's a Thopter outside for you. It only fits 2 people. So I was like, oh, Thopters. Yeah. I can remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to talk about? I feel like we've covered...
Without going for like an hour, like purposely pulling apart all the different plots, like going bit by bit, I feel like I've covered. It's shot beautifully, even though it looks like a video game that's come out in 2011 because of all the sand. Music's great, acting's great. Again, like I have no problem with any of the acting. I feel like everyone just fits exactly what's on the page, and some characters are just stoic or quieter.
Love the Chalamet, Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, like bonding moments.
Their bonding moment, yeah. They really, everyone's really good in this movie. Like some characters don't get much time. It's not. I was like Zendaya's in this for like 2 minutes, and I remember when I watched the film festival like press conference thing. I can't remember where did this premiere. Venice. So I think it was Venice.
I think so.
Yeah, I watched that Venice film festival like Q&A thing they did live stream after the fact, and Zendaya is like second on the cast. Like they're getting like ahead of all these questions. She's in the movie like too, but also so does Josh Brolin's like there, and even Javier Bardem's there, and he's in it for like 2 minutes as well. So it's quite funny to see all that. But no, I also think it like thematically it's quite interesting because it's a book that came out in like the 60s or something, and the book feels like it's like very like politically it feels like there's a lot of, I guess, left-leaning themes in this, which is quite interesting from a book to be published around that time and stuff. So yeah, that's another interesting factor. I'm keen to see how that's explored because obviously just boiling down the families and the political element, the emperor and all that sort of stuff, and then you get into the fact that you've got these basically people, all these families or these different groups of people have been told by an emperor to invade a planet to steal their resources, to take it away from the native people to that land and stuff. Like, I mean, you boil it down to the simplistic terms, and I feel like it's, to a degree evident and obvious what's, that everyone else wants to use their shit to fly spaceships, and they use it for like religious or like cultural reasons. So yeah, I feel like a lot of that's like surface level, and I'm sure there's more there, but I thought a lot of that was interesting too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to dig into, and I'm definitely keen for a rewatch to like I'm sure I'll pick up things and better understand stuff. But yeah, I guess we wait till 2023 when Dune Part 2.
At least I don't have to wait as long, because I basically watched it.
Greenlit.
It's basically 2022.
The
December.
Gap between the two is different. Apparently, production starts soon, so that's.
They got all the sand already. That was the hardest part. So
it was shipping all the sand in.
Yeah, all the sand
it's just
in.
been in storage, so just have to move it.
I'll tell you what, if they plan to do 3, because I did Google quickly before we started, I was like, how many Dune books are there? And then Google's like, oh, there's like a main trilogy, and that's the main like important part. And then apparently there's a 4th novel that was like sort of in between one, and then Herbert did like 2 out of 3 of the next trilogy. But I was like, well, okay, like if we're going to focus on trilogy, we're going to get like part 2, like I don't know, like it's part 2 of the Dune book. I actually haven't looked into that. I don't know if I want to. Like, is that a spoiler? Like, are we still in the first book? If so,
Yeah,
holy
we're still
shit.
in the first book.
Oh my fucking god. Oh boy. Go watch these fucking movie at the cinema, please. And watch the second one. Oh.
Yeah. So you want like a full franchise?
Well, I feel like I want at least a trilogy at this point, unless I suddenly turn on the franchise and go, nah, I went to shit.
But what if the story is complete? Why would you want another one?
I don't know, like, but I don't know. I'm just based on my quick Google search where everyone said there's a trilogy of books. I'm like, we're still in the first book. Like, I want the trilogy, surely. You know? Don't I?
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I'll start with this book being completed. But then, you know, maybe I presume I want the trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they can make 4 Divergent movies.
I think, yeah.
Oh.
Well, you know, that's the difference. This was very expensive to make. That was probably not as expensive to make. And it shows.
This is like...
I mean, they did get rid of half the cast. That would have been pretty expensive. So
that's true. There's no cast left for the second movie. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya for the rest of the film.
Yep. And Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah. Who cries a lot. Yeah.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
Right? Was there anything else?
Dave Bautista. Stellan.
Oh, yeah, Dave Bautista's character, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Alright. Well, let us know what you thought of Dune by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff like this.
Only together can we stand a chance.